Son nem só chegar a esta casa, luz você rodeia, luz que eu gostei, mas você é meu sol mais brilhante. Depois, blooming at lover, now faz nada. Escuridão sem som. Como a pressão, mas vou esperar. Hoje vai chegar. Esta vez que as quem vê está só para você ser com o tempo passar fundos neblina. Sinto parecer Shabbat.
Good morning, Kitten Brigade and Zinkin here. Very, very early morning. Toot-doo-doo. Hello, Fluoride Udon. Hello, Radioactive Orca. I almost didn't stream today because I was like, I was trying to get working, what was it? Silent Hill, Homecoming. And yes, I know a lot of people have told me that that game kind of sucks, but I still want to play it. I still want to make my way through a lot of the, Silent Hill games that I never got around to playing. And I don't know, I was having a lot of problems with that one, so I was like, so I almost did not stream. So I was like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna do this, and we'll figure out Silent Hill another day. I mean, if anything, I can probably just do display capture. I was having trouble, getting it to capture in any other method, and I don't really like using display capture for reasons, but it's a quick and easy fix. So, anyhow. Damn fingers? What? The toot-doo-doo? Toot-doo-doo. Toot-doo-doo. How are you guys doing? So hopefully this will suffice as a scary game. But maybe I'll pick another different scary game if I can't get Silent Hill Homecoming to work. I didn't even know there was a command. It's like a secret command. From Secret Commands. Okay, I think we were on the 4th story. I don't remember. I remember, yeah, we finished the 3rd story. Actually, I don't think we started the 4th story. I think there was a bunch of options. There's a bunch of options. I randomly bought this game from Limited Run at some point, but never played it. So you bought a physical copy of this game? Is Limited Run like that company that makes like physical copies of indie games or smaller games? That's cool. You never played it. Do you like visual novels? Yeah, they had it on PS4 disc. Ah, I didn't know that this game was for the PS4. Interesting. So not the PC. That's even more interesting. Hello, little Lost 34. How are you? How are you guys? So, okay, so we last left off on a bunch of options. So, where do you guys want to go? I guess we get to actually explore the house. This is just after we finished the 3rd story, which was super tragic, by the way. Or possibly Vita, I forget. I think either or. It probably makes more sense on the Vita. You see a lot of visual novels pop up on the Vita. I bet you it's Vita. But, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to put it on the PS4, but, because I have seen some visual novels on the PS4, but I think it makes more sense on the Vita. Plays nicer on the Vita, I think. Or it's more enjoyable on the Vita, in my personal opinion about, visual novels. Anybody? Whoops. I clicked on something, I don't know what I clicked on. Okay, we're going wherever I randomly clicked on. You approach the stained glass window. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. Also, is the mic okay? Because I was playing around with options when I was like trying to muck around with Silent Hill, and I think I kind of fucked over some of my settings. Did I make it too loud? Because normally I don't fuck around with the mic settings, but I did something, so I kind of mucked around with it a little bit. I'm gonna actually turn it down a little bit. I don't think I need that much more of a boost. It was PS4. I just checked. Not that it really matters. Do you not have a PS4? I mean, it kind of matters. It matters a little bit in terms of like whether you're gonna play it or not. So far it's a good, pretty. It's got a pretty nice story. Like, they're very like compelling tragic stories, so if that's kind of your thing, then I think you'll enjoy it. Sorry, I'm just like watching the audio levels. Okay, I think it's fine. Like, it's not too loud or anything. You sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. I will get to it eventually. This is my mantra for like every game I own. Every freaking game that I own on Steam or physically on my consoles. I have so many games that, like, realistically in the back of my head, I know that I won't actually be able to get through all of them. Like, the only way I could actually play through all these games is if I didn't finish all of them. Like, I would just start it and play like maybe 15 minutes, maybe an hour if we're being generous. But that's like the only way I'd be able to get through like all the games I actually have. I just don't have time to play them all. I agree with that fully. I kind of wonder, like, sometimes I think, maybe I'll do that one day. Like, I'll just stream like me going through a whole bunch of games. Or, like, we'll just play like 15 minutes to an hour of each title or something and see how it goes. Because you know what? A lot of the games I probably have, especially on Steam, are probably all like mostly crap. Just mostly crap that I probably won't actually be able to finish. Anyhow. You sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. For a moment, you felt like you were on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately, the memory never managed to surface. The maid did not appear to be there. Where could she have gone? You decided to continue, or to resume exploring the mansion. So this is like the first time we get to actually like pick options to go here and there in the mansion. Let's call for the maid. I guess we were looking for her? You tried calling for the maid. It was quiet. A sense of loneliness fell over you. Lonely. So lonely. Also, the music is pretty quiet here. We'll turn it up a little bit. Let's go to the entrance, since nobody has any suggestions about where they want to go. You made your way to the mansion's entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, you found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. I don't really remember why we don't, where the maid is, because I thought we were holding her hand. And all I remember is I was pretty tired when we were getting to the end of this story. So he was talking to a painting that was a painting that was talking to him, okay. But what happened to the maid? Like, she just disappears after she tells the story or something? I don't know. The maid who had been holding your hand was no longer at your side. Oh, she just all of a sudden disappears, okay. Alright. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seemed you could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch. Crucify the impure. When you made to step away from the entrance, you heard a muffled voice. You looked around, but were unable to determine the source of the voice. Nor could you be sure whom you had heard either. Giving up on finding anything at the entrance, you decided to head somewhere else. Fireplace? I think that's where we started the game originally. In front of the fireplace. You made your way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of the fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. You remember that you had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, you sat down in the rocking chair you had been asleep in. Creak, creak, creak. It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby, and in short order, you found your consciousness drifting from your grasp. We fell asleep. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes it feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? I bet that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they could be near the fire. Oh, you're such a cynic. But that's okay. Say, do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? Sweet, sweet piano. For some reason I was imagining that in like Homer's voice. You know when he says that about like donuts. Your eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of a pleasant dream lingered in the back of your mind. The crackling of a fire, the taste of warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of embers left there. A chill ran down your spine. Afraid you might freeze stiff if you stayed there much longer, you resumed your exploration of the mansion. It looks like there's a fire there to me. The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent, not even an echo of the men's chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiards balls. There was no one present to strike the balls, they rolled spontaneously around the table. The paths they traced across the surface were rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. As an experiment, you pulled a ball off the table. In response, the paths of the balls became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As you stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Spinning around, you saw a silhouette of a man. However, you could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want you to return the ball. You reluctantly placed the billiards ball back on the table. When you did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. You looked up to find the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, you exited the room, making your way back into the corridor. What is this? We're just going to be like aimlessly going through each room just to not find the maid? I think I'm gonna save the rose garden for later. Let's go to the library. The rose garden feels like kind of key here. The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. You approached the shelf to examine one of the books, and suddenly an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. You stared blankly at the mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they showed no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one else was there to do it, you began placing the books back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen, and as soon as you had gotten them all back up, they came crashing back down again. Oh no. You wished very much to implore of the maid's assistance, but she did not appear to be in the area. Pretending you had not seen anything, you made your way back into the hallway. I just imagine you like, kind of like backing out of the room slowly. Pile of books on the floor. Let's go to the spoopy cellar. When you descended into the cellar, you heard beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and a sound of ripping flesh. You could not see the beast, but that did not make it any less unpleasant. You made to retreat from the cellar. Uh-oh. But before you could, a shadowy creature lunged at you. You reflexively squeezed your eyes shut. After several moments, you opened your eyes again to find the silhouette of a man standing in place of the beast. You and the shadows stared at one another for some time. You asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. Oh god. However, you had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to you, but trying to make sense of something you could not understand was pointless. Having no reason to remain at the cellar any longer, you made your way back upstairs. I hate it when people tell me XXX. Let's go to the rose garden. Hehe, look, your head is covered in roses. Oh, you got petals on the book. This isn't mine, I can't afford to. Though you could hear the sound of children laughing, you could not see them. Regardless, their cheerful voices warmed your heart. You decide to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. Hello, konbawa. Konbawa, Minami. How are you doing? But after a while, the roses began to wilt. You could no longer hear the children's voices either. Radio is a bit tired, radio's sad. It's not even... It's like afternoon, isn't it? It's like morning time. It's like 10:45. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Not tired. You literally said radio is a bit tired. And then followed by radio sad. So you got a touch of the melancholy. A touch of melancholy. Just sad. That's okay. This is a bit of a sad game too. A young man stood alone in the withered rose garden. As you drew nearer, you called out to the youth, but the young man did not appear to notice you. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. This isn't what I wanted. I just wanted a normal, peaceful life. I can't bear being alone. I can't take this. Someone, get me out of here. Oh God, tell me that I'm not the bad one here. You tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear you. He simply continued muttering to himself. Before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear the chilly air any longer, you stepped back into the mansion. Well, I guess we're going to the bedroom. You inserted the key you had been given into the door's keyhole, and with a twist, the door opened. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was stale and forlorn. Master? A voice seemed to ring out from somewhere. Come on, get up. Up with you. Master. See? What did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Without warning, your whole world took on bright, vivid colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating a well-lived bedroom. A woman's silhouette stood before you. Wait a sec. Don't you hide under your bedspread. Get out of there. Oh, but Master, you agreed that I could open the windows. Don't worry, I put curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Mornings take the best part of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the birds, the swaying of the trees, the rustling of leaves. You tried to call out to the silhouette, but it did not respond. Reaching out for her, your hands simply passed through her body. It did not seem to be you that she was speaking to. Perhaps you were looking at a scene from other period of time. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? Hee. I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible, but I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but you can be surprisingly playful. What else? You have a pretty difficult personality, too. Now, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk, and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice, too. We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. This is just the beginning after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? Let's not waste any time, then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to before? Where should we begin? Oh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. Now that there's some actual light in here, we can see all sorts of things we'd probably rather not. Like dust. All over the place. Hehehe. When the woman's shadow faded away, the master bedroom transformed back into its old dreary state. Master, can you say my name? You were unsure how to describe the urge welling up within your breast. You could not say her name. You stood unmoving in the master bedroom for some time, but it did not appear anything else was going to happen. So, you decided to head somewhere else. I guess we're going back to the window. You returned to the room with the stained glass window. You had searched throughout the mansion, but had no luck finding the maid. You felt somewhat tired, though you were not quite sure whether it was physical exhaustion or otherwise. You had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, you gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly back down at you was the archangel said to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was trying to weigh your soul. Is she finally going to answer us? Master? Master? Oh, there you are, Master. Hello, Vivi. Tentacle arms. You gave me quite the scare. After returning to the third door, you disappeared without a word. Oh my, it was I who disappeared? That is quite strange. I did not go anywhere as far as I'm aware. Nevertheless, I am glad to have found you. I would have been at a complete loss for what to do if I had been separated from you yet again. I did indeed say that when you first arrived. I have been waiting for your return for a very long time. For centuries, as a matter of fact. That's a long time to wait. That would make me a ghost then, you say? Hehehe. I am very much not a ghost. Would I be able to hold your hand if I were? Saying this, the maid took your hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down your spine, and completely devoid of life. Though, as chilling as it may have been, you still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in yours. The maid looked down at you with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside you. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time I see it, it brings a tranquility to my heart. A dreadful, deep-rooted curse afflicts this mansion. However, this room is the one exception. Can you feel the purity that hangs in the air, Master? Yes? What is it, Master? You are correct. The stained glass window had been shattered and was not present in the time period of the previous tale. I wonder, perhaps it is because the mansion we are in presently resides in a realm separate from the real world? We are in a world constructed from myriad memories and histories. I am sure that when you regain your old self, Master, the mansion too shall be restored to its original state. So do try and remember, alright? Hehehe. Oh yes. Where did you go in my absence, Master? I see. So you explored the mansion then. Did you find anything noteworthy? Memories? I'm not quite sure what you mean. How peculiar. As a servant of this house, I pride myself in being aware of most everything present within these walls. I wonder whose memories they could be. The key to the master bedroom? Why did I throw away the key? I beg your pardon? You say a painting told you? You could see perplexity on the maid's face. You had never seen her make such an expression before. I know nothing of any key. Oh, Master, you should not tell jokes meant to cause others discomfort. Hehe. This game actually intrigues me, but I need to spend what's left of this night with my wife. Take care and have fun. Alright, see you, Udan. Thanks for hanging out, man. And say hello to your wife. To the wifeys. I kind of feel destroyed. It's funny because I never imagined me and that word in the same sentence. That you feel destroyed. Are you feeling okay? I feel painfully lonely. Damn, like, this game is probably, like, the worst game for you guys to be watching. You feel lonely. Maybe you take comfort in a lonely game too? But a talking game painting, you say. You seem to have a rather vivid imagination. Maybe you can tell the next tale, Master. Hehehe. I'm only teasing. Now, that was a nice break, but we should get moving. The tale I'm about to show you is the last of the mansion's memories. Ooh, we're on the last story, guys. I'm certain you will remember yourself after seeing it. To our feet. The final door is not far. And please, do not let go of my hand. Holding your hand, the maid led you to the far end of the room. No, Wayo can keep you company. Nothing to do with the game. Who's Wayo? Who is Wayo? I know it has nothing to do with the game, BB. I'm just saying that this game is probably not going to help with the feelings of, like, desolation and loneliness, seeing as that's sort of the theme within this game. But anyway. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. So hopefully, since this is the last story, I might be able to get through and finish this game. Unless there's like multiple endings. I don't think there is though. Our destination lies at the top of these stairs. There we will find one last door. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long spiral staircase. Look, she called it a spiral staircase and not a what was the word that Vivi used for a spiral staircase? A helix. Helix stairs. Helix stairs. It was a bit of a walk, so... It will be a bit of a walk, so let us be on our way. And please, do watch your step. This is called an observation tower. Normally, towers such as this were built in castles or churches, so it is rather strange for there to be one in a mansion. The last story I wish to show you, Master, resides at the top of this tower. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. No, that is not a helix. Oh, okay. I see what you mean by the helix. Like the one in Neo had 2 sets of spirals. Okay. Bye, Inky. Alright, see ya, Radio. Hope you feel better soon. Are you gonna have a nap? Gonna have a nap? You attempted to peer out one of the windows, but all you could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the maid's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was, in fact, correct. With each step upward, you found yourself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. The feeling somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tightly gripped your hand. There's nothing to worry about. You will be fine. It is all in the past. No matter what may happen, as long as you do not let go of my hand, you have nothing to fear. You and the maid continued climbing the stairs. Up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer the supposed final door. High up in the towers, the light from below drew distant. A rotten wood door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained its surface, and holes had been bored into it with sharp objects of some sort. You heard a scream from far below, where no one should have been. Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Burn her! Burn her! Burn her! You were struck with fear. The next moment, the maid opened the door, and then... you slowly descended into darkness. Oh, who knows, maybe this story might be like the longest story yet, compared to all the previous tales. The 4th door. 1099? So we're going like way back in time? Set on the pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces thereof into it. Even every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder, fill it with the choice bones. Take the choice of the flock and burn also the bones underneath it, and make it boil well, and let them seethe the bones of it therein. Thus saith the Lord, Woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece, let no lot fall upon it. Into darkness, so we're going to a Star Trek movie? Hello, Zetetica? Zetetica. Hello. Welcome back. I think I've seen you here before for this story. Where is she? Where'd she go? She came down this way, I'm sure of it. Find her. and burn her. Burn the witch. 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 Burn her. 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 Then will I leave thee upon the land, I shall cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon thee, and I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee, and I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains, and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of thee. And then I shall put thee out. I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. I seem to have lost them. Now, where am I? Where should I go from here? What am I to do? Darkness spreads as far as the eye can see. Not a ray of light shines down upon me. All that strokes my cheek are tendrils of darkness. Every passing day, every fading hour, my world is engulfed in ebony. There exists no kindness in the shadow, only solitude. I've lost track of how long I've been on the run, wandering aimlessly, lost, until I arrived at this dark forest. I no longer have anywhere to go. O Father who art in heaven, I kneel to thee within my heart, and ask of thee thy blessing. O Father who art in heaven, I ask of thee to shine thy light upon me and show me the way. Please have mercy upon my soul. O Father who art in heaven, I do love thee dearly. Hallowed be thy name. Please show me the way. I may be shunned and persecuted, and I may have no place to go, but nevertheless, I am unable to give up on life, to cast aside my hope. O Father who art in heaven, please guide me into salvation. O Father who art in heaven, please guide me. I can no longer remember when my life became naught but running, when it became endless wandering in the dark, and now, when I've reached the point where I've long since forgotten my hunger and thirst, my voice has become hoarse, my vision gone blurry, and my consciousness began sinking into a hazy morass. That mansion appears before me, wrapped in a morning fog that seems to foretell rain. Oh my! The mansion comes into view like the world fading in after a dream. It doesn't appear as though anyone lives here. All the windows are either boarded up or shuttered as if it's long since been abandoned. A tower which seems out of place in a personal residence stands tall beside the mansion. The whole building seems as though it could disappear with the fog. It has an unwelcoming presence, freezing me in my tracks. However, if this is where you led me, then I shall follow your guidance. Having nowhere else to go, this mansion is my only salvation, the light that guides my way, and so I must have faith that no matter what I find, whether spirits or wild beasts dwell within these walls, that this is where I will find peace. Is anyone there? I guess it is abandoned. That makes sense. It would be more unusual for someone to be living in a house so deep in the woods, so far from civilization, like it's been forgotten to time. I can't imagine anyone spending their days here. I place my hand on the front door. What if I can't get in? I very much doubt I'll find anywhere else to stay wandering around through the woods. If the door doesn't open, then I'll die out here in the forest. I've come to accept much, but I'm not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please open. The door is heavy, and though it seems to protest my attempts to enter, it still opens much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I get the strangest impression light is being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it feels as though I'm about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I close the door, it's so dark I can't even tell where I'm walking. I wonder if the window's open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it's tightly shuttered and the shutters are caked with rust. I'm probably not getting it open without a fight. If only I had some source of light. I can't even see my hand waving in front of my face. Feels like the floor will fall out from under me and I'll sink into eternal darkness if I don't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walk forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There's a door at the end of a long corridor. I pull it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushes past me. It's too dark to see anything, but I can feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness grips me. Is anybody there? My voice simply disappears into the void. No response. As I'm pushing forward through the freezing air, for a split second I spot a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I'm able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it's not shuttered, but covered by drapes. My chances are slim, I imagine, but if there's even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it's worth a shot. So I pull open the drapes. The next moment, faint but colorful light shines down on me. It's a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I can hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. I guess it finally started. The different colors of light blend into a milky white, dim but wondrous. Wait, the way I read it. The different colors of light blend into a milky white. Dim but wondrous. Sorry. It's gorgeous. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please, do not touch the drapes. Or the windows. Suddenly, I hear a voice and I can sense someone else in the room. The man's voice is emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he comes into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. Oh, this guy. Michel. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but, I did announce myself. The man stands there, practically blending in with the darkness. Has he been there the whole time? He's staring straight at me. His gaze wavers slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. The candle in his hand and the light from the stained glass window are the only illumination in the room, neither of which are particularly bright. As a result, his outline is faint and blurred. It gives off the impression that he might vanish entirely between blinks. My apologies. I assume the house was abandoned. I suspect you would have preferred it to be abandoned. Why do I feel like I've gone through this dialogue before? Not at all. Is this, do you live in this mansion? Yes, I have for a very long time. I thought I had barred the front door, but it would seem I left it open. What brings you here? If you're lost, I am happy to give you directions. There is a village west of here. It should take you maybe half a day on foot. If you're in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. Trade it for food at the village, then make your way to a larger town. Please, allow me to stay here. Could you repeat that? I cannot go to the village. No, I cannot go anywhere. I am no longer able to freely return to any town. I'm being hunted. You seem rather young to be a sinner. So you have transgressed. I am neither a thief nor an adulterer. If I bear any sin, then it has been with me since birth. I will do everything I can to stay out of your way. I simply ask that you grant me shelter until it all blows over. If you wish to know of my transgression, I will tell you, so please, do not throw me out. I see. And do you ask this of me, aware of how people refer to this mansion? Pardon? It is said that a witch once lived in this house. And not just any witch, a cursed witch. This house has been tainted by her seething hatred, and all who dwell within it meet their demise. But you live here, don't you? Like her, I too am cursed. Hello, secretary agent. Hello. Hello, Mr. Baum. How are you guys doing? We're doing some Fata Morgana. or the house that wait, was titled is the house in Fata Morgana. So I think we're like on the last leg of this story. This is the fourth and apparently the last story. So let's see how long it takes me to get through it. Huh? What kind of curse? The one thing I can tell you is that your life is in danger if you get involved with me. Should you approach my curse, I am likely to take your life. You'll kill me? Yes. So you do not belong here. To live with me in this mansion is to sentence yourself to death. Just wanted to say hi. Okay, hi. Hello, Mr. Bomb. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. And then say bye. Just kidding. That kind of rhymed. No matter what path I chose, I very much doubt I have a future. And if that's the case, then I shall live how I want. I don't care what people say about you or this mansion. I wish to stay here. You might think I'm rather strange, but my heart tells me that I must stay here. That I must stay here, that I was guided here. And hearing what you have to say only reinforces that. What are you scheming? I am not scheming anything. I'm simply tired of running. Library, thank you so much for that 10 months. Oh no. What's this gonna sound like? This is a novel? Yeah, it's a visual novel. Okay, visual novel.
Lime Break joined Kittens Brigade.
And no.
Lime.
Thank you for the loims. Whatever loims are. And for that 10 months. Too kind. That's the white hair. No, that's not the white hair color. This guy's Michel. He is Michel. He's a man who looks very effeminate with long, gorgeous white hair. So, if your curse is going to kill me, then perhaps that's for the best. At the very least, you won't be hunting me. You won't try to flay me, or tear off my arms, or rip the flesh from my bones, and that's enough for me. If you have committed no sin, then why do they hunt you so fervently? I am accused of being a witch. Dun dun dun. Just because of the way she looks. Master, please, wake up. Return to me. Have you come too, Master? I apologize for sending you through the door without warning. It must have given you quite the scare, but I beg your forgiveness. I heard a terrible screaming from down the stairs and I panicked. You say you saw the white-haired girl? I see. So you made it to the world beyond the door before me. I am deeply relieved that I was able to take your hand before losing sight of you. I presume you have already grown familiar with the atmosphere of this time period, Master. If you have seen her, as you said, then you should have a basic grasp of the situation. She was a very misfortunate girl in this era, accused of being a witch, abused, and persecuted. Her life was in constant danger. It was again her disappearance that brought this upon her. That snow-white hair and those ruby-red eyes clearly differentiated her from everyone else. Oh, and I apologize. I neglected to mention that this door is unique. As for what sets it apart, that will be made clear as we proceed, though one difference is in the time period. The tales I have shown you began with that of the beautiful flaxen-haired family, followed by the tale of the bloodthirsty beast, and then the tale of steel and ambition, proceeding in chronological order. However, the door we've just entered takes us to the period now known as the Middle Ages, long before the other three tales. Yes, that is correct. This is where it all began. I'm trying to listen to the soundtrack. There's like a voice in the background. I was trying to tell what they were saying, but I think maybe it's just gibberish. The mansion's curse, the truth of the witch, and your identity. All of this should be made known. If after this tale you are still unable to reclaim your old self. Sounds like gremlins. Maybe gremlins. Then there's nothing more I can do. The story contains the last tale I am able to tell you, so I ask of you, please do not let go of my hand until it is all over. Now then, let us begin a beautiful, tragic love story of two solitary souls trapped in a mansion of darkness. In that era, the mansion was a dungeon draped in darkness. After a great deal of time on the run, the white-haired girl found herself at a remote mansion that stood in a dark, overgrown forest. All the windows were either boarded or shuttered, and it was even darker inside the house than out. Not even a ray of moonlight could enter those walls. Only naturally the white-haired girl had assumed that nobody lived there, but her guess was incorrect. Someone did indeed dwell in the house. It was a young man named Michel. Although she could not make out the details of his face in the candlelight, she thought him a very handsome man. However, he proclaimed to her that a witch resided within the mansion and that he too was cursed. Everyone who got close to him lost their lives. Do you think that what he told her was all nonsense? A lie devised to chase her out of the house? The truth of the matter shall come to light in time. I want to play Drunk Souls. Is that what you've been playing these last few streams? Secret? Despite Michelle's assertions, the white-haired girl decided she would take up residence within the mansion. I don't think I've ever played Neo drunk. Only because I feel like with Neo, it's just too fast-paced for me to handle it, like, drunk. I don't know. Maybe I should try that one day. This era's white-haired girl was younger than the others. She was still in her early teens, young enough to be still seen as a child. But she was neither as self-centered nor irresponsible as you might expect of someone her age. She was very delicate and reserved, and acted with a great deal of modesty and restraint. The accusations of her being a criminal and sinner were grossly inappropriate. Nevertheless, she was still chased from her home, barely managing to flee to this mansion with her life. Now, the white-haired girl thought it would be rude to simply take up space in the mansion, so she chased down the master, Michel, and asked, is there anything I can do to help? I will clean, or cook, or do anything, just let me know. I want to repay you for allowing me to stay here. You need not feel indebted to me. The weight of that obligation will only turn into disdain. But I can't just stay here and do nothing. Do whatever you like, as long as you do not enter my room. That is all I ask of you. He said emotionlessly, turning away and walking off. Michel was not, I believe, spurning her. He was merely disinterested. He did not treat her disrespectfully, nor did he seem averse to her presence. Words simply did not seem to affect him at all. Not only was the mansion a prison for his body was also a prison ensnaring his heart. I should still do whatever I can. But she did not let that get her down. In fact, she might have even interpreted his disinterest as kindness. Though he was a bit standoffish, he did not attempt to cause her harm. He was nothing like the people who had accused her of being a witch and forced her to flee for her life, and she was deeply grateful for that. Mistaking disinterest for kindness. Thus began their quiet life together, Michel, who avoided contact with others, and the white-haired girl who had taken a great deal of abuse from others. Two people who knew hardly anything about one another, who were too distant to really be said to be living together. Michel spent most of his days in his chambers, so they only ever saw each other occasionally, and they hardly ever spoke. Though they stayed in the same house, they both still lived solitary lives. Nonetheless, the white-haired girl wanted to get to know Michel better. She wanted to know why he called himself cursed, why he lived alone in this dark mansion, how many days, how many years he had spent here in solitude. And while she waited for the opportunity, she also started doing things around the house. The first project she set out to take care of was cleaning. As the windows were all firmly shut, her only source of light was candles. For whatever reason, there was a great deal of candles stored in the cellar. She wondered where on earth he had acquired so many, but she never found the opportunity to ask him. It was difficult to even see all the dust and cobwebs with only candlelight, and considering the poor airflow through the house, She was afraid her efforts were going to be in vain. Still, she persisted, sweeping and wiping things down one room at a time. Eventually, she made her way to the library. The dust that had settled there was much heavier than in any other room. With each breath, she had to fight back coughs. It was not a room one would normally be comfortable spending much time in, but the sight of so many bulky volumes lining the shelves sent her heart aflutter with delight. They're books. Incredible, real books. The white-haired girl had never seen a book before. She had heard people describe them, but that was the first time she had ever seen one for herself. Parchment was a very valuable commodity in that era. It was something monks or scholarly priests made use of, and not a material one could easily acquire without some degree of social rank. Books were not printed with machines, but copied by hand. A single volume took an incredible amount of work to create. Even the process of binding was an art. Standing before a shelf, she stared intently at the spines. There's so much dust. Does he not read any of them? Just a peek. Just a tiny little peek, she said, making excuses to the empty room as she reached her hand toward one of the books. The tome that caught her eye was on the upper shelf. It bore gorgeous jade embossing and looked like it belonged in a treasure chest. Almost. Though she tended to act older than her age, the white-haired girl was still in her early teens and not especially tall. Even standing tiptoe, it was still just barely be within reach. At long last, her slender fingers made contact with the spine, and she began to pull the book toward her. Ah! The library had sat abandoned for some time, causing the covers to stick together, so when she attempted to pull one out, several others tilted with it, and then almost all the books on the shelf came avalanching down upon her. Ow! The white-haired girl groaned, buried under a mountain of parchment. She hoped she had not damaged any of her host's valuable collection, for the mess was enough of a setback already in her attempt to express her gratitude. Looking around, she saw one volume that was almost torn in half. She did not know whether it was in that condition before, or if it had happened in the fall, but nonetheless, she felt horribly guilty. Sitting there, unable to get back to her feet, tears began welling in her eyes. Then, suddenly, a shadow fell over the dejected girl. It took a book into its hand and returned it to the shelf. For a brief moment, the shadow's hand reached hesitantly toward the white-haired girl, then changed course toward another book. Ah! It was Michel. There was a hint of perplexity in his otherwise emotionless eyes. Perhaps he had heard the noise and come to see what had caused it. I'm so sorry. Your books, What were you doing? I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make a mess. I didn't mean to damage such precious books. There's no need to panic. I'm sorry. You make it sound as though I'm admonishing you. What? Did you want to read a book? I do, but that's not what I originally came here to clean. Clean? Yes, I feel guilty simply being idle. I did say you could do as you pleased, but you have no responsibility to clean anything. I just ended up making a bigger mess anyway. I'm sorry. You needn't apologize. Okay. If you want to read, help yourself to any of the books. But I don't know how to read. I just thought the cover was pretty, so I wanted to hold it. You're free to use them however you wish. If looking at them is enough for you, by all means. These are all your books, aren't they? They are... That's incredible. You have so many. It must have taken you a long time to acquire them all. 1 per month. What? My family sends me 1 per month. Every month? The white-haired girl turned her gaze back toward the shelves, squinting her eyes and beginning to count. When she finished, she was in awe. There were in excess of 100 books on the shelves, which meant he had lived there in solitude for many years. She was at a loss for words. Oh, whoa, it's Canadian. Hello. Hello, sincerely. What you working at, punk? How you doing, man? Their dull tomes, dreadfully inoffensive and not even interesting enough to waste a few hours with. Decoration is all they're good for. I see. If you can put them to some use, then perhaps my having them won't be entirely meaningless anymore. I'm going to return to my room. Don't feel obligated to clean up. Just a minute. Was there something else? Could you tell me your name? It's funny that we know his name is Michelle. I guess we knew it was Michelle from a previous portion in the story. I just realized I never asked for your name. Not knowing what to call you will make conversation awkward. You don't need my name to. I want to, though. Michelle. Michelle, like the archangel. The name suits you quite well. It suits me? It does, although it's difficult to see you in the dark. You seem to be very handsome and befitting of your name. I beg to differ. Giving me his name is the highest form of mockery. I expect the real archangel is probably rather annoyed by it. I don't know. I think it's a wonderful name. And your... No, never mind. Oh, my name? My name is Giselle. Please, call me Giselle. We finally learned her real name, guys. We finally learned the white-haired girl's name. Is this very far into the game? I would say so. This is supposed to be the fourth and final tale. So after this story, we're getting to the end. Jizzy? Don't call her that. Jizzy. Oh god. That sounds even worse. Or Jizzle? Jizzle. That's even worse than Jizzy. Actually, both are pretty bad. Jizzy and Giselle. Jizzle? Jeez. Oh, thank goodness. For what? That I was able to get your name and talk to you for a little bit. We haven't seen much of each other since I first arrived, so I'm glad that I got to hear your voice. Very glad. You gain nothing by speaking to me. You have no responsibility to do so, and there's no need for you to feel joy about it. I'm not pleased out of some sense of responsibility or necessity. It's just depressing, not being able to have a conversation with someone living in the same house. You do not understand me at all. As I said on the first day, my curse will one day kill you. But I'm still alive, aren't I? You are welcome to believe I am lying, or that I'm merely out of my mind. But it will be too late when you realize the truth. I'll be fine, I'm sure. And even if I do die because of your curse, I promise I won't hold a grudge. Could you possibly be keeping away from me out of concern? No, I simply have no interest in interacting with anyone. I would like to interact with you, if you don't mind, that is. As I told you, I have nothing to gain from that. I have nothing, not even words, to give you. My body is but a shell. Even if I were not cursed, my presence would do naught but cause you discomfort. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that there's anyone in this world with absolutely nothing. There's plenty inside you, you simply haven't noticed it yet. And not all of it will only cause others pain either. If you truly believe those words, then you are a foolhardy girl. How can you trust someone you only just met? For that matter, how do you even not resent everyone? Resent them? I can take a guess as to why people call you a witch, and why you had to flee all the way to this mansion. Your white hair and red eyes, that's abnormal, seemingly inhuman appearance drew their condemnation. And I can think of any number of reasons they might have started treating you less than human. Perhaps people around you experienced misfortune, or perhaps there was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague, some kind of external phenomenon, and you were their scapegoat. Yes, you are, by and large, correct. Then that would make me as unworthy of your trust as anyone else. I make no claim to having your interests in mind. Goodbye. If you don't mind, could you teach me how to read sometime? Did you listen to anything I said? I listened, yes. I have no intention of idolizing you. I don't expect you to do anything for me, and I don't wish to burden you in any way. I simply wish to be allowed to be at your side. It does not matter to me what kind of person you may be. That is all I want. I apologize for keeping you. Please consider it if it's not too much trouble. Oh, I was having a shower. I was having the shower. The shower. Nice. Yeah, it was raining tonight. It was a good shower. Wait, were you? It was raining tonight, so wait, you were having a shower outside? I had a hot shower while naked. I mean, most people go into their showers naked, but I guess I shouldn't speak for everyone, you know. This is just what I assume most people do when they have a hot shower. As the master of the house, Michel made his way out of the library. He appeared to be slightly rattled. Perhaps the white-haired girl's determination had ignited something in his chained heart. Or perhaps it was something else. She stared toward the darkness into which Michel had disappeared. Then, she carefully wrapped her arms around the jade-embossed tome, a soft smile spreading across her lips. He's a decent man, I'm sure of it. We're alike, he and I, and thus began to blossom within her a faint sense of fellowship as someone who also knew solitude. Flanders wears trunks in the shower, does he? I don't remember this. That was a cool interlude song. I like these little interludes. It had been about a week since the white-haired girl had taken up residence in the mansion. Staying in that house deprived of light was, I imagine, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as a part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of either illumination or recreation, was the one place she could find respite. She and Michel continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had explicitly told the white-haired girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to close that gap. Nonetheless, on the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whenever she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not even meet her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. One day, the white-haired girl stood in the cellar, a frown on her face. Wow, this is troubling. I can't go down to the village, but if we don't do something soon. The cellar was where their food was stored, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, smoked meats and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies here. I was actually just kind of wondering in my head, I'm like, what do they do for food? Because it doesn't sound like anyone cooks for them. I remember Homer being really surprised. I don't remember why Homer was looking at Flanders showering. Well, who knows what Homer is up to usually. This game is very narrative, descriptive dialogue. I mean, most visual novels are. Most of them are. I mean, I played a few visual novels. I think you've seen me play a few of them, haven't you? Most of them are very descriptive. And this one doesn't, and this game doesn't feature any voice acting, so that's why. So there's a lot of reading. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure more. Or perhaps, were she a little tougher, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. Hehe. But master, you know, a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to the task of hunting for food. How does he normally get his supplies, I wonder? From there, other questions about Michel started rising in her mind, no matter how lifeless he seemed. Surely, he still had to eat, right? The white-haired girl nodded, then made her way out of the cellar, intending to head for his bedchamber. But on her way there, she spotted him standing by the entrance, staring motionless at the door, lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something. May I ask you a question? Go on. I was just down in the cellar and I noticed we were running low on food. Do you normally go down to the village to restock? I haven't been outside in 10 years. Then how do you... What if I told you I don't eat? What? That I'm not of this world, and as such, I have no need of sustenance. What would you think of that? That sounds very, economical? If you can survive without having to eat, that's one less thing to worry about. If it were possible, I'd like to have that ability too. It would seem trying to frighten you is a waste of time. He was trying to make a joke. Was I supposed to be afraid? Never mind. It doesn't matter. You asked about the food in the cellar. It's getting to be about that time. Wait, and you will find out. What do you... Is here. Oh. If you want to know where my supplies come from, open the door. But, I'm in hiding. There's no one at the door anymore. The knock is nothing more than a signal. A signal? The white-haired girl turned toward Michelle to press him for more information, but he averted his gaze. Find the answer yourself, he seemed to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will, then marched over to the door. Not having to eat would save a lot of money. Oh, a lot of money, a lot of, like, time and effort and stuff, I'd imagine. So bright. The sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself had not gotten any brighter, she had simply spent so much time in the dark, her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. The white-haired girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and then her eyes had finally adjusted to the light. What's this? She noticed a crate on the ground at her feet. She turned her head back to Michelle about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Michelle from the shadows. A pang of nervousness struck her. She wanted to return to that darkness as quickly as possible. The white-haired girl had come to yearn for that world without light more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. The slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house, but eventually she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then everything went dark once more, except for the faint flicker of candlelight floating in the air. You can leave it there. I'll take care of the rest. What's... Without a word, Michelle approached her in the box, withdrawing a knife that he had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. With it, he cut through the rope that bound the box. Go on, open it up. At his insistence, she placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside this unexpected delivery. Whoever had brought it was already long gone. Staring at the strange box, she was racked with nervousness. However, what she found when she pushed aside the lid was completely ordinary food. Is something amusing? It was just rather anticlimactic. Here I was worried about what might be inside. We were just talking about the supplies in the cellar. So we were. It completely slipped my mind. This should last us for some time. It's all preserved, just like what's in the cellar. But I don't understand. Who would deliver all of this to you? There should be a book in there as well. What? Oh, there it is. In the library, he said that his family sends him 1 book a month. Does that mean this box came from them? If so, then why did the person who delivered this leave without speaking to him? What happened between him and his family? Is he here because they want him here? Or because he chose to be here? Take the book to the library, please. I will bring the rest of the supplies to the cellar. But it's a big box. I'm sure you could use some help carrying it. That won't be necessary. Take the book and go. But fine, then stay here. I'll take care of everything. Wait, hold on, please. What is it? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I'm not trying to pry, but I can't help but be curious. Say what you have to say, please. I was wondering if you could tell me, why do you live here in this mansion? Why did whoever delivered this box leave before you even opened the door? Could you, perhaps, be imprisoned here? I told you this the very first day. I am cursed. It's only natural for a cursed man to live in a cursed house. Yes, but that's such a vague answer. I don't understand why you're in the situation you are. I don't understand, or I don't know how you feel about it. There's so much I don't know. And I'm not even sure if your curse actually exists. I see. That is a perfectly reasonable doubt from your point of view. Having been branded a witch because of your appearance. It would make sense that you would think my curse might be fabricated, or perhaps a metaphor for something else. Alright then, come with me. What? I'll show you my curse. As he turned on his heels, the white-haired girl caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a smirk on his face, like the whole thing was some kind of sick joke. I assume you never have to go to the bathroom if you never have to eat. But what about drinking? Maybe you need to drink water? The smile carved into his mask was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, she still followed after Michel. And as much as he might have stood out in a crowd with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely eroded away by the darkness. She felt that he could simply fade away into nothingness at any moment. Is he showing her his homework folder? I don't know. I mean, there's all this talk about cursed, being a cursed person and cursed mansion, so he's gonna show her his cursed stuff. Do they have to drink water? I mean, clearly that was a joke on his end. He was like they do eat foods. If I had to guess, I think Michelle's family thinks he's cursed for some reason. And so they've kind of like, not shunned him per se, but maybe, what do you call it? Exiled him, but they keep him alive here at this mansion, but like taking care of him. And I bet you it's like a noble family that he comes from, so that's why they spend money to like send him stuff. But I'm gonna go grab my tea, so let me, actually here, I'll try and find an image. We'll cue it up to an image so you guys can look at a picture while I go get my tea. Many things are buried here. Huh? Mice, insects, wild cats, and dogs. Have you ever thought it strange how little life there seemed to be around this mansion? You're right. I haven't seen a single creature since I arrived. The only sound you can hear is the wind blowing. Now that you mention it, it did seem peculiar. They were all killed by me. Or rather, they lost their lives because of me. You have your answer now. I want to see tea. Okay. Like Kapperhauser? Wait, what is Kapperhauser? Noro wareta hitodachi? I see what you tea there. Okay. That was horrible. Horrible. A butterfly fluttered its way into the ruined garden, dancing up and down through the air. Michel held out a finger before himself, and the butterfly, mistaking it for a branch, drifted down upon it to rest its wings. Had the scene stopped there, it would have been a picturesque moment. All that comes in contact with me loses its life. My skin, the breath I exhale, my flesh and blood, is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movements began to slow. It spread its wings in one last futile attempt to fight gravity, and then, without warning, it shriveled up into a dry husk. It's dead, all dried up and lifeless, like it's been dead for days. It's like his finger drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? But I saw it with my own eyes. If this is his curse, though, it explains much. There are more than just insect and animal corpses buried here too. Servants who came to visit me long ago are here beneath the ground, under our very feet. Bathtub time. Okay, Bibi, enjoy your bath. That's why the servant leaves before I open the door. Ah, maybe she's immune to his like poisonous powers. But anyways, I'm gonna go grab my tea, so I'll be back in like a couple minutes. Okay, I'm back. Should he touch me, should he get near me, his very life is in danger. No one is interested enough in seeing me to take that risk. No one will have anything to do with me. Hi, bag. Thank you. Thank you. Nary a soul even wishes to see my face. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would eventually kill you. So that's why you have never once touched me. When I knocked the books down in the library, you didn't even offer your hand to help me up. And only one of us ever made contact with the box at the entrance at a time. When I offered to help you carry it, you refused, because you didn't want your finger to accidentally brush against mine. My actions were not out of concern for you. I simply dislike people. Others' interests mean nothing to me. What an odd face you're making. Do you not believe my curse is real? No, I do. It is certainly irrational, inexplicable, unbelievable, but you've shown me more than enough evidence. And I don't believe you're lying to me right now either. In which case, you now understand how dangerous it is to be near me. You said that if you left, you would be killed. But it's been some time since then. If you're careful to cover your tracks, you could make your escape. You do not belong here. He was telling the truth about being cursed. Your shoes are untied. I'm not wearing any shoes. Neither is Inky. Wait. How do you know I'm not wearing any shoes? Is it the foot cam? Is it the foot cam? Damn it! Did I leave the foot cam on it again? What a cruel burden to have to bear. Because I guessed. No, it was the foot cam, wasn't it? Damn it. Can't imagine just how much he's given up on. How many lives he's inadvertently taken, and how much he must have felt every time it happened. Your face is untied. Your butt. Good one, good one. How much pain that loneliness must have given him. How much despair he must have carried in his heart. How much sorrow must be weighing down on him. So no, I will not leave. I will stay here with you. Leave this place. No, I will not. Why? Why do you insist upon remaining in this house after learning what I can do? You have no reason to stay. Tell me then, why do you try to drive me out if you don't care for others as you say? If you're not concerned about anyone else, then why does it matter what I do? Why does it matter? What does it matter if I die to your curse? You're a very kind-hearted man. You've been watching out for me since the day I arrived, doing whatever you can to not inadvertently kill me, to not afflict me with your curse. No. Here's what I think. No one capable of showing genuine care for others can honestly truly dislike all people. They can't possibly be indifferent. No, The day we met before the stained glass window, you heard me out. You listened to my plight. You didn't try to chase me out. That day, I thought you to be a good person, and I still believe that. I simply assumed you would leave on your own when it was safe. Never thought you would be so foolish as to want to stay in a house like this with a man like me. How does that make me foolish? Do you not value your life? Are you not afraid of death? Do you not find me unpleasant? The thing I fear most is loneliness. You're probably right that by now I could safely sneak away, get myself somewhere far from here, but even if I did, I would inevitably find myself in the same situation. The only way I can avoid that fate is to stay away from everyone, to live in solitude with no one to talk to. I know you understand how that feels. It terrifies me. I'm afraid of having to spend day after day with no one to talk to, no one to share my experiences with, my thoughts, my feelings with. If that's what awaits me out there, then I want to live with you. I want you to be an essential part of my life. Impossible. Please, don't chase me out. You are a cruel girl. Never again will I allow myself to get close to someone, only to watch them die. Never again. My mother was the first to die. It happened shortly after my birth. Next was my wet nurse. 2 deaths could be considered a coincidence, but as the number rose, it became clear that I was cursed, and I was forbidden from making contact with anyone, even at home. Regardless, being in the same house, accidents will happen. Numerous people lost their lives. Attendants unfamiliar with me or those who simply brushed up against me by mistake. I couldn't take it any longer. So you chose to move here, to this remote mansion, to keep yourself away from your family? You weren't imprisoned here. You elected to live alone so you wouldn't hurt anyone. For better or for worse, I was born into a noble house, called it. So rather than abandon me, they've provided me the means to live out of sight. I will be very careful. I will do everything I can to ensure no accidents occur, to keep you from being alone again. I will not for any reason touch you. You have my promise. Your curse takes the life of anything you touch. I've been here for a while, and death has not befallen me yet. As long as I do not touch you, there shouldn't be a problem. Also, and I apologize if this is simply me reading too much into things, but I feel like we're 2 of a kind. Better go untie it. I mean, tie. Lol. Okay. I fear being utterly alone more than anything, and I think you understand just how scary that is. So, why are you so stubbornly insistent on it being me? I'm sure there's someone else out there. Someone you're meant to be with. You may not have found them yet, but I believe someone like you eventually will. Because unlike me, you still have the vigor to press forward. It has to be you, I'm certain of it. Why? Because, well, you can't tell me. No, I can just, please don't get upset with me. I think I might really, really love you. Oh, she's in love with him. That's so sweet. His was the power to evoke images of witches or demons, the unclean and the impure. Oops. A mere touch was all it took for him to strip man and beast alike of its life. God has quite a cruel streak to bestow such a power upon such a beautiful young man. And a strange power was indeed, like something out of a fairy tale. Like something confined to words upon the page, it seemed otherworldly, unbelievable. Nevertheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his peculiar powers were indeed real. Music. Yeah, I really like the music in this game. That said, the world has its fair share of oddities. It just so happens that those curiosities tend to remain hidden away, known only to a few. Hehe. Although you have laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena yourself, Master. The doors to the past through which we have passed, this very mansion, and as a matter of fact, the 2 of us. Now, as you just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man and his accursed power. How do you think Michelle acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, no, unable to interact with them. As such, he was unsure how to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered, "I'll consider it." And with that, he returned to his chambers. While he was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, I personally do not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. He had simply forgotten how to express them in his extended solitude. So I think he was, in that moment, in a state of complete panic. She had, after all, just assaulted him with a stream of incomprehensible declarations. that knowing the truth, she still wished to remain in the mansion, and that knowing the truth, she loved him. That love, the love that she had declared for Michelle was not a fleeting puppy love. There was unique or genuine tenderness and warmth to her words. But he had gone through his life shunned, feared, pushed away. To him, that was normal. He had never given anyone reason of any fondness for him, and so he found himself utterly unsure how to take the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Oh dear. Several days had passed since Michelle had asked for time to think. He had still yet to show himself again. This is all my fault. The white-haired girl paced anxiously through the halls on the off chance she might run into him. As per his request, though, she kept her distance from his chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for so long. So she worked up her courage and made her way to his room. What if he doesn't want to see me ever again? I didn't consider I might be overstepping my bounds before opening my mouth. Every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. I should at least tell him I'm sorry. Rather than out of a desire to know how he felt, she was compelled by guilt and the desire to apologize. After walking for some time, she arrived at the door, sitting in an utterly unlit hallway. She drew in a breath of musty air, then let it out, repeating the process several times. Next, she reached her hand up to knock on the door, then pulled it back, also doing this a number of times. Oh, how adorable she was. I wanted nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl for her worries to be anything but misplaced. I just can't find the courage. Maybe I should come back another day? But what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize and get the weight off his back now. She gathered her courage once more, this time determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist toward the door, which then swung open. I'm sorry. Please, you must announce your presence. I almost walked right into you. Are you in that much of a hurry for a mishap? I'm sorry. And I believe I told you to stay away from my chambers. You did, so I spent a long time debating whether I should, but I decided I really wanted to tell you this. Oh, well, actually, I'm truly sorry. What? The other day, I could barely manage to get the words in my head all the way to my mouth. There was no room in my mind for anything else. I shoved my own thoughts and feelings into your face, not considering that might not be what you wanted. Just running non-stop, not thinking at all. That's terribly disrespectful to you, completely selfish. You're a kind-hearted man, I truly believe that, but you were only being courteous because you're a nice man. I'm sure you have little interest in the affections of a queer little girl. So, I would love it if I could stay here. It would be a wonderful blessing. But if you really don't want me here, if my feelings are imposing upon you, then I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll take my leave of this house. I'm sorry. Don't be. My mind went blank for a moment. What? I find it difficult to comprehend you. The other day you were firm in your intentions to stay, and now you'll say you'll leave without a struggle. You holed up in your room for so long that I thought, you didn't want me around. To be honest, I want to stay here, I do. I think you should do whatever pleases you. Huh? You can stay, or you can leave. I will not pressure you to do one or the other. So, I'm not imposing? To tell you the truth, I had to think about that for some time. However, I have now come to something of a solution. Since you're here, come into my room. What? But I thought I wasn't allowed to. To prevent what almost happened a few moments ago. So we don't accidentally run into each other. Sorry. You're forgiven. No, come in. Okay. Ah, chew. Bless me. Thank me. Okay. Bless you. And, thank you? What's up, Ski Pancake? How you doing, man? Is this a necklace? If that's what it looks like to you, then I suppose that means I succeeded. Pick it up. Ah, it has a little bell. It's adorable. Please make an effort to wear that while you're in the house. Because it's so dark, there will always exist the risk that we might accidentally bump into one another. So I tried to come up with a way to reduce that risk. Does that mean you didn't leave your room because you were working on this? That's right. What other reason would I have? I think that most people would assume it was because they had put you in a bad mood or that you didn't want to see them. I have little sense of how most people see the world. Sorry. I appreciate it though. I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into a life together with me. It would be difficult not to after the other day. Hehe. I'm so happy right now. I can't think of any better word to describe it. I couldn't be happier. You're being dramatic. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad about it. Why? It seems rather impertinent to fix a bell to someone. You're not livestock. You're a person. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is he like making her out into a pet or something? Putting a bell on her? I'm a glizzy. I identify myself as Apache helicopter. Okay. Hello, Apache helicopter, and hello, Glizzy. Glizzy? What does Glizzy mean? I don't know what a Glizzy means. That's why you turned it into a necklace? Thank you very much. I'll keep it on me at all times. I really, truly appreciate it, Lord Michelle. Don't call me Lord, please. Alright then, I'll just call you Michelle. And will you please call me Giselle? The windows. What? If we could open the windows. Never mind. I was just thinking you wouldn't need the bell at all if we could get some light in here. Hmm? They can't be opened? They're rusted shut. All the windows have been shuttered for as long as I've been here. I assume you had boarded them all up. That was done long before I ever arrived. So, after so many years here though, I hardly consider it an inconvenience anymore. It also serves to repel wanderers. Oh, really? Is there something odd about that? No, it's just I realize I had the wrong impression about a number of things. As I learn more, I see things in a different light. See you in a different light. And I am sure there's still plenty more for me to learn. Of all the people I have ever met, you are perhaps the most difficult to predict. Not only do you have no aversion to the darkness, the dark has always been a close friend of mine. Which isn't to say I dislike the sun, its light can simply be a bit too strong for me. I'm like some kind of unholy monster that can't be exposed to sunlight. You are anything but unholy. My name wouldn't suit you. Much better than me. Oh, what a touching moment. The story's pretty sappy so far. Did you guys see how glitchy that was? What's with these sounds? That day, when I first saw Giselle, I was wary of her, apprehensive. I didn't want her anywhere near me, but as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something very different, as though the lump in my heart had been melted away. Is this Michelle's train of thought? Sounds like tape. Oh yeah, very squishy tape. That part definitely sounds like tape. The squishy part. I mean, yeah, some of it kind of sounds like tape, but It'd be interesting to know how this person made these sound effects while they were like, you know, making them for this part here. I began to yearn for her to be at my side, knowing full well it couldn't possibly last, knowing full well how foolish it was. I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. Wet tape, blood. Okay, so this is part of the game. I was like, is this like a part of the game? Was that the end of the game? What was with the glitchy, staticky look? That was weird. This is like Assassin's Creed is like a simulation or something. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly conversing. As mundane as it might seem, it was something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Michel, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said, and the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Michel seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached a point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through a book together. Have you read every book in the library? No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The Diary of a Lord, foolish make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it. What value is there in the lies and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they give you a little glimpse into the author's heart, let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry. I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends? The book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. I am curious what kind of stories this area has. The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages, and Michelle simply watching so as to not brush up against her. Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. That chapter detailed the story of a witch, or more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this. Ooh, it's story within the story, guys. There once was a witch, skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, a long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds. And they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse, though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens, but know that road is a road to destruction. People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose, and that's why I face accusations of being a witch. That is not an area very welcome to outsiders, especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to the region in the first place? Mine is a story I'm sure you've heard before. I was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family. We could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be the first to go. I see. What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for. All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying what might have been changed or added over time, and it's almost certain the entire legend isn't written here. That said, if we were to accept everything as written, you can infer that the witch's reason might have been. And that is, if you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes. That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something? Go on. When I first arrived here, you told me that the cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe you made that up simply to scare me away. I appropriated the tale, nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house. What? Quite the place my family found for me. But it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree. But... no, never mind. That makes sense. I suspect I know what she was going to say then. If the witch is said to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who so desperately want something? They do not care what price they must pay. And perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after the legend, and perhaps they had encountered Michelle, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors. I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition. If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do? It might be nice to talk to her, maybe. That's all, really. I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are there to ask for something, after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that must be. I swear I cannot comprehend the way your mind works. Sorry. Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea what climb for the heavens might mean. Oh? The mansion has an observation tower. Or, I suppose, what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here. Oh yes, I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion. Would you like to see it? Of course. Please, lead the way. The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. At the far end of that room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. With Michelle in the lead, the two climbed a long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. Night-night, Mr. Bond. Thanks for hanging up for a little bit. I know, I started this stream really late, so... I was, like, wondering if I should have even, like, started it, but I was like, eh. I'm awake. I'm awake, so we're gonna do this, even if it's a short one. But yeah. Have a good night, Mr. Baum. And yeah, thank you. Happy reading. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Michelle pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. This is the top of the tower? Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from here. Her face contorted in confusion, the white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she only saw a darkened ceiling, and slightly below it, a small, single window through which shone a little ray of light. The beam cleaved through the darkness like the sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make it more impressive, that solitary ray of light. It had a magical, fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built. Though I don't know what that something might be. Oh, it's a picture of Giselle. Giselle? When Michelle's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man, who had never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the hosts of heaven. Michel undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was affixed firmly upon her. Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps... Oops, I missed that one part. Wait, what? Why is this all, like, blocked off? Wait, why is the text all weird here? This, okay, yeah, this line here, but then after here... Did I skip it? Okay, I don't know what he said, I missed it. Is something the matter? No, I'm fine. That's interesting, it's censored here. Why? Why is it censored? I'm confused. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone actually might be listening. If the witch were to speak to you, what would you say to her? I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was, and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman that people branded a witch. The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't. I get the feeling she was just persecuted, like me. Like me and you. Unlike you, I truly am impure. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. Or maybe I'm not even a living being, and that's why when I touch something that is, I bring them death. If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power, regardless of whether it came from God or the devil, then I would be able to grant people's wishes. My wish need not be granted. But it's what I want too. I wish to be able to touch you. I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life. I pray the day will come that we can get together, even if it has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you, I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. You can. Reach your hand out for me. Is he gonna touch her? I will imagine it too. I am imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. There was a wall between them, a wall they could not cross, for if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another, so they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad, but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity. As fitting as the word cursed might have been to the mansion as a whole, at the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between the young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long, no, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together, that was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable, only a peaceful, quiet life together. But misfortune was creeping ever nearer, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced. What's this about, misfortune? The music in this game. Is someone at the door? The flow of time was hazy within the mansion's walls. They had little way of telling whether it was night or day, preventing them from knowing exactly how much time had passed. The white-haired girl had made a habit of climbing the observation tower every so often to see whether the sun was up, which allowed her to approximate the time of day. Consequently, when she heard the knock on the door, she was not aware just how deep the night was outside, that forest and beasts alike lay quietly at rest. Oh, right. The stores in the cellar are almost exhausted. It must be this month's delivery. Not thinking it was worth bothering Michelle over, she made her way out of her chambers and headed for the entrance. There had only been a single knock, leading her to conclude that, as before, the servant had simply left the box outside the door. So without a second thought, she opened the door, and there she saw a strange, bag-ripped man standing in the moonlight. His clothes were tattered, his bearded face bony and emaciated. She gasped, shrinking back several paces. The heavy door began to swing shut, but the man forced it open, glaring down at her with unfocused eyes and mumbling. Are ye the witch that'll grant people's wishes? It was in that moment that the white-haired girl realized she had been careless. The man had sought out the mansion because he believed the legend of the witch. And he did not seem particularly right of mind either. Let's just turn it down a touch. Perhaps it a result of wandering through the forest for several days, or perhaps it was because he was so beaten down that he thought to ask for a witch's help. In a word, he seemed mad. No, there is no witch here. Sure there is. Don't you lie to me. I can hear the witch's voice. She led me to this house. I promise you there isn't. Now please be on your way. Have you any idea how long it took to find this place? How many days I've gone without food or water? And you're telling me to get lost? I don't know what you want from me. I'm happy to give you a little food, so please. Is there really no witch? There's no witch here. It's nothing but a legend. If she does exist, she doesn't live here. I see. Then that means you're just an ordinary person. Just a person. Just a girl. So there ain't a thing you can do. No, get away from me. What are you doing? Why waste time waiting for you to get me a little grub when I can just take it all? I'm starving here. I'm so hungry I could eat human. You're about to commit a grievous sin. Are you not ashamed to act in defiance of God? God? If I believed in God, would I have come begging to a witch? I don't fear him, and I sure as hell don't fear people. Who's gonna show up in the house in the middle of nowhere? Who's gonna call me out? Who's gonna stop me? No one. That's who. No one's gonna stop me, and no one's gonna offer me salvation. Ah, there's a thought. You're a woman, so before I kill you... What are you doing? What? There are other people here? The white-haired girl lay pinned on the floor beneath the yelling bandit, pleading for help with her ruby eyes. As soon as Michel grasped the situation, he tossed his candlestick aside and leapt for the man. The candlestick gave a sharp clang when it hit the floor. The impact extinguished the flame, bringing the mansion to near-perfect darkness. Something glinted in the bandit's hand, and then, without hesitation, he thrust it at Michel. Michel! How stupid must you be to come at me unarmed? In his hand, the man held a knife, its tip dripping with Michel's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arm, the flow growing heavier with each passing moment. You're the only other person here by the looks of it, eh? Perfect. I'll take you both out. You. What? You don't appear to know whose house you tried to break into. What are you on about? Regret your ignorance to your very last breath. You're messed up in the head, you madman. Hey, stay the hell back. Take one more step in. I inherited the witch's curse. Let me go. Michel clutched the man's face in one hand. The man raised his knife to strike back, but... What's happening? The strength drained from his fingers, the knife falling to the floor. The man writhed in Michel's grip. Ah! My face! My face! Ah, I can't breathe! Leave this place immediately, though you won't get far afflicted with my curse. Ah! Helpless to fight back, nay, helpless to even consider fighting back, the bandit fled from the mansion in terror. In his wake, only the white-haired girl and the bleeding Michelle remained. I just saw a man's life drained from him, his face withering away, sucked completely dry. I didn't doubt him, but dear God, that was quite disturbing for you, I'm sure. No, not at all. It's my fault anyway if I hadn't been so careless. Oh, your arm. We need to get that wrapped up. Please, do not touch me. You mustn't touch me. The wound is hardly fatal. It's my fault. I'm so sorry. No, a degree of the blame falls on me for saying nothing. Next time someone comes to the door, let me know. I'm sorry. Please, you don't need to apologize. Well... Yes? For once, I'm actually proud of myself. Proud that I could use this terrible ability of mine to do something more than just take life. To protect someone I care about. So, like I said, please, don't apologize. Alright, thank you. Michelle? I'm glad you're here. I care about you too. Thank you. Oh, what a sweet moment. Had the flame of Michelle's candle not gone out when he threw it to the floor, he would have seen a heartfelt smile on the white-haired girl's face, and she would have seen a flush of red and an awkward smile on Michelle's normally blank face. He also might have seen a little glimmer on her cheek, where a few drops of his blood had landed. But alas, they had no light. Wait, so does that mean something that she has his blood splatter on her face? Or is it just his touch? Or can his blood count as touch? The collapse of their happiness came slowly, gradually. Perhaps it was because she had touched his blood instead of his skin, but the deterioration of the white-haired girl's health crept along at a relaxed pace. The life was not sucked out of her in the blink of an eye as it had been from the bandit. She merely grew progressively less and less healthy. Amidst her physical decay, she was bestowed with one blessing. Her beauty remained untouched. But as far as blessings went, surely there were others she could have been granted. Could God have not picked something a little better for her? By the time the two of them realized what was happening, it was already too late. The white-haired girl had grown so weak she could hardly leave her bed. Yes? Oh, you are there. I am. Thank goodness. I can't see very well anymore. How could this happen? I thought I had saved you, but no. I did the exact opposite. Please, don't talk that way. You did save me that day. But you're on the cusp of death now, and it's my fault. Because of this curse I bear. How? How could this happen? Why did this have to happen? What am I? Why was I given this body? Michelle, can I ask you a favor? Go ahead. Stay with me, please. As much as you can, until the very end. I was going to do as much anyway. Thank you. I'm happy, Michelle. Happier than I have ever been. And I mean that. You didn't just save my life, you saved me. I have been saved, but only me. I wonder how he'll handle things when I'm gone. If only I hadn't touched the door that day. I wouldn't be leaving him all alone, and we could be happy together for even longer. Yes? Would you please hold my hand? I think it's probably safe now. I will not. I cannot touch you. If I do, I might take what remains of your life. Take your beauty away and force you to die hideous. I cannot touch you. So sad. Whoa. This is weird. This is the plot twist. Around here. Here. On his way back from the washroom several days later, Michelle heard muffled voices. You got it? He was having trouble making out what they were saying, but he could tell it was several men, and they were outside the front door. The fact that he could hear them at all through the heavy door meant they were probably shouting quite loudly. An indescribable sense of uneasiness came over him. Dread. He drew nearer to the door and focused on the voices on the other side. They grew clearer enough for him to make out what the men were saying. Everything's in place. We're ready to kill this witch now. This is definitely the place. That half-dead bandit said she was in this mansion. Listen well. No matter what we find in there, kill it. It could be a child for all I care. That doesn't change anything. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. Kill the witch. What he heard beyond the door was a group of men shouting for the death of the witch. At that moment, Michel regretted his decision to let the bandit go free and not watch over him until the moment of his demise. He must have made his way down to the village in search of help, where he revealed what he had found at the mansion. Damn it! But it was too late. Regret would solve nothing. He could neither stop the villagers from raiding the house, nor could he stop the white-haired girl from dying to the effects of his curse. He was helpless to do anything. The gears of his fate had locked him onto a path of tragedy and were turning mercilessly onward. The men had begun trying to break down the door with what sounded like a battering ram. While the first strike was not enough to breach the barrier, it was still quite powerful. He was certain it would not hold for long. Michel's mind raced. Was there anything he could do about this predicament? How could he escape from the corner he had been backed into? Despite his processing inhuman powers, he would be powerless against a full mob of adult men. The villagers almost certainly came armed as well. Michel? A weak voice came from behind him. Aghast, he spun around to find the white-haired girl stumbling toward him. She breathed heavily, leaning against columns for support. What are you doing out here? You'll only worsen your condition by exerting yourself. I had a sinking feeling, and I heard noises on my way here. It seems that I brought all my misfortune upon you. Don't say that. If I hadn't come here, this never would have happened. You never would have been in any danger. Please, Michel, hand me over to the men outside. Absolutely not. I will do no such thing. They're here for the witch, aren't they? I'm guessing they're the same people who were chasing me before. The village had a poor harvest this year, I heard. Like the village in the legend, and they believe it's the witch's curse. But you're not a witch. They need someone to fill the role, though, so please, hand me over. And then, escape on your own. I could never. Please, Michel. I'm the one who's cursed, not you. And you want me to hand you over? What could I have left then? Or what would I have left then? Nothing. Not a thing. I would have nothing. After so long, I finally found someone who isn't afraid of me, who won't run. I have no interest in the world that would take you away from me, make me live alone once more. To hell with such a world. Michel. Would you be willing to die with me? If that's what you wish, then stay with me until the very end. I probably wanted to hear that just as much as him. No, not probably. I did. I wanted to have someone at my side as much as him. It's so lonely not having anyone. To live alone, to die alone, to not have anyone watching over you. For no one to even know you're dead. I simply wanted someone to tell me that they're here for me. To be there, to hold my hand. How wonderful that would be. The sense of utter relief it would bring would be enough to cast away all the pain, to allow me to accept all our suffering. So please, tell me you'll Michelle and the white-haired girl chose to spend their final moments at the top of the observation tower. They could hear the crash of the battering ram against the door, the shouts of the men, and their stomping feet, but despite all that, the ray of light shining through the little window was as beautiful as always. The room's air of serenity remained unimpeached. After the long climb to the top, the white-haired girl was terribly out of breath. Michel considered several times offering her his hand, but the possibility that doing so might rob her of her last scraps of life stayed his hand. It sounds like they broke down the door. I'm glad we made it up here when we did. I'm so sorry for asking this of you. Don't be. I would have chosen here for my final moments as well. This is the one place in this mansion with any sunlight. The one place I can get a good look at you. Thank you. I'm truly glad I was able to end up here, that I was able to meet you, and more than anything, that you said you cared about me. Have I managed to become an essential part of your life? Do you even need to ask? I wouldn't be here otherwise. I feel the same way as you, I'm sure of it. The two of us are more similar than you probably care to admit. Can I ask you one more thing? Go on. Would you embrace me? If this is to be the end, if this is to be my last chance, then I don't want it to end without having been able to touch you. Please don't refuse me this, Michelle. Just do it, please. I won't keep you waiting long. Thank you. The truth is, I always wanted this. I dreamed of being able to hold you. I dreamed of it too. Thank you. I'm so very... How come they didn't draw them holding each other? It's a shame, they just showed like silhouettes. She's still so beautiful. What a cruel joke. Could you not have given us some other miracle? One that would allow us both to survive? Where are you? Where'd you get off to? I can't find her, damn it. Hey, there's some stairs over here. They lead up. Beneath the single ray of light, the white-haired girl lay completely still. Not even a frail sigh escaped her closed lips. She remained as gorgeous as ever. It was as though she had simply fallen asleep in the sunlight. Looking down upon her, Michel determined to do one thing. I will not allow anyone to sully this sight. He gave a fleeting glance back at her pristine corpse, then opened the door and stepped through it alone. He would protect that room where she lay. Hey, there's someone up here. So this is where you've been hiding, you infernal witch. Wait, that's not the girl. The raucous sound of their footsteps rang out from below. Shortly thereafter, the men themselves came into view. As he had expected, they were heavily armed. He glowered at the men, then sucked in a deep breath and shouted at the top of his lungs, I am the witch you seek. I have inherited her curse, and it is I who brings calamity upon you. You hear that? But he's a man or woman, it doesn't matter. Death to anyone who has ties to the witch. Cleanse this earth of all impurity. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Michel did not flinch at the sight of the men. He stood unyielding between them and the door. He did not flinch when they raised their weapons against him, nor when they pierced his body. No, Michel. I wish I had drawn him holding her though, honestly. Die and take your curse with you. I have no need for this life any longer. It's all yours. I am cursed to kill even that which I wish to protect. But at the very least, I can protect one thing before my life is done. Not even one of you will leave this place. wither, and die by my curse. The blood spilling from his skewered body flowed down the stairs, down and down like a little river, soaking the feet of every single man who had stormed the mansion. This was the last thing he saw before the final grains of life slipped between his fingers, which brought a faint smile to his lips. What a sad story. Neither of them had expected what happened next, though, for God has a most twisted sense of humor. The white-haired girl had not miraculously passed away without being robbed of her beauty. Why am I still alive? She had, rather, not passed away at all. Cruel, quite cruel of him, was it not? Michelle? Where have you gone, Michelle? Michelle. I smell blood. Wait, so she really was sleeping? What's up with that? For he allowed her to die. For had he allowed her to die, she would not have been made to witness a scene that awaited her. No, no. And I'm sure you know just what it was she laid eyes upon in that moment. The ravaged corpse of her beloved, a torrent of blood streaming down, down, down the spiral staircase, and the sickening stench it raised. No, why? And his was not the only body. The villagers who had assaulted the mansion had also been subjected to his curse, the life drained from their withered shells. Why did this? Michelle, why? Why am I the only one still alive? That is the question I cannot answer either. Perhaps his curse did not affect those he loved, as terribly cruel as that might be. I cannot say. Why, you said we would go together. A world without you has no meaning. Had she actually expended her life there in the room at the top of the tower, perhaps this tale could have had a happy ending. She could have at least been able to have the man she loved at her side until her very last moments upon this earth. But that was not what had transpired. She had survived, been left utterly alone. I felt a profound pity for the miserable girl, so I called out to her. Would you like to see him once more? So her name's Morgana. Fata Morgana? What? Oh, so this is the witch, I guess the maid, who's been watching over the house. That she can grant wishes. I have the power to help you meet him again. Who's there? Who are you? Or where are you? You know what they call this mansion. So who do you suppose remains on this grounds? No way. You're from the legend. You actually exist. Now, I asked you a simple question. Would you like to see him again? The witch grants people's wishes, but at a price. Inky, winky, pinky, oh, woo, woo, nice, oh. What's up, little thugs? How are you doing, man? How you doing? What are you up? What are you up? Why are you up at this crazy hour? I said I wouldn't ask for assistance if I met her. 11 p.m.? 11 p.m. Ah, that's right. Australia. Wait, 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Okay. You're like way in the future. That's pretty late. Puggies. Okay, actually that's not super duper late, but yeah, it's like 4 a.m. here, so this is kind of a very odd hour for me to be streaming. But I started my stream really late. But that's all changed now that I've lost him. If it's truly possible, then yes, I want to see him. Yeah, so you should be asleep. sad face. You can't tell me what to do. I'm an adult. Kind of an adult. Anyways. Then yes, I want to see him, bring him back to life. Regrettably, I cannot directly meddle with the forces of life and death. However, I can guarantee you this: your reconstruction. Reconstruction? Correct. To ensure that you remain as yourself in future lives and are not reborn as someone else, your body and mind shall be reconstructed, as shall his. If you sincerely wish to reunite with one another, if you genuinely need each other in your lives, you will eventually meet again. All I can promise you is eternal reconstruction. What you make of it is up to you. You want to see him again, don't you? You want to hear his voice again, don't you? You want to feel his hand on your cheek once more, don't you? If that's what you want, then you must remain who you are. If you are simply reborn, that wouldn't be you. So there wouldn't be any point, would there? Me as I am, and he as he is. Make up your mind quickly. I will not wait long. I want to see him again. Hehehe. As you wish, sweet little girl. I shall grant you both eternal reconstruction, and pray with all my heart that you can attain true happiness. I'm crying. Wait, are you crying over the story? Shortly thereafter, the white-haired girl took her own life. Aw. She decided she had nothing to gain by remaining in the present time, and that in order to reunite with Michel, she needed to make her way to her next life. And thus the mansion was left bereft of a master to travel slowly through the ages until someone came along to give it life once more. But an unfathomable amount of time has passed, and the two have still yet to reunite. Have they, Master? You know now who you are, do you not? You remember everything now, do you not? You were present in every single era. The reason for which is as I described in the previous tale, because you yearn to be reunited with someone. But that person never showed up in any era. And poor sweet you, having no memory of any of that, lived those lives with other men. Is it any surprise misfortune befell those eras then? The door swung closed. But rather than outside, you and the maid were inside the dull, monochrome room at the top of the observation tower. Wait. All this time, I thought we were a dude, but, are we the white-haired girl? From the way she's talking, lived those lives with other men. Poor sweet you, having no memory. So, I think we are the white-haired girl. We are Giselle. All this time I thought we were a dude. They made it out like we're a guy for some reason. The awe-inspiring ray of light shone not through the lone window high upon the stone wall. Wrapped in a curious impenetrable darkness, you both stood alone in the room. The maid wore a gentle but brittlely cold smile as she looked straight at you. It is not your fault misfortune befell you. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were always so kind, so pure of heart. You had boundless trust for others and the goodness of people. You were the very image of all that is right. There is no greater misfortune than someone as pure and beautiful as you, being mercilessly thrown into the grinding gears of tragedy again and again. I still pity you for everything you had to go through. Your poor, poor soul. Gillette. Damn, she had what, the nurse, the maid here? or aka the witch. I think that's the witch. You must be utterly exhausted, constantly betrayed, the man you were waiting for never appearing. After so long, your spirit worn down to the bone, you lost any and all awareness of who you even were. With Cole? What? Or were you trying to emote? Who were you hoping to find wandering into this illusory mansion, cut off from the real world? You and I are the only ones here. The man you seek is nowhere to be found. Have you still not figured it out? Then allow me to tell you everything. I am the cursed witch Morgana, who haunts this mansion, and you are the tragic plaything of fate, the white-haired girl named Giselle. Did my calling you master confuse you? If so, then I apologize. My habit of calling the master, or mistress of the house master, is quite deeply ingrained. And yes, that means precisely what you think it does, that I have accepted you as my new master, that I wish for you to remain here, to stay with me. So, let us put an end to this journey. Do not worry, there is nothing to fear. We're simply going to step outside the river of time. Nothing unpleasant will ever happen to you again. I will be here with you for all eternity, and I will give you my utmost care. You will not have to wait for anyone. Forget about him, the man you once loved. I am sure you shall find happiness. Please, do it for me. I have been waiting for you for so very long. I wanted nothing more than to see you again. But you were continually stolen away from me, despite my sincerest desires to spend my days with you. Which is why I wanted you to recall everything, for surely you would not willingly repeat the same fate if you knew all the pain it has caused you to suffer thus far. Spend eternity with me in the gentle embrace of darkness. The maid extended her hand for you. Is this a decision time? This might— oops, did I save? This might be decision time, guys. Oh, a witch, I see. She's flirting, yeah, she is. So yeah, okay, so that's why— this is why we thought we were a dude, because she would call you master. So that was the twist. Visual novels tend to do that. Throw a twist in there. Her fingers brushing up against yours were as cold as ever, but her breath tickled your skin pleasantly, and her sweet words rang in your ears, filling you with warmth. You thought back on your time with her in the mansion. She had, indeed, always treated you with great compassion, and nothing she had said seemed to be a lie. And so, you pondered. What were you to do? Oh, what do you guys think? Accept? Reject? There's still more to be done. There's actually 3 options. I guess we can save it here. Bam. Or maybe I should put it— actually, you know what? I'll put it in the last slot so I know that's a decision-making point there. I mean... You mean what? I don't know what to pick. I kinda wanna keep looking for the guy that we, you know, we basically took on the witch's wish to see this guy again. And we never did get to see— so the witch technically never granted our wish. Whatever gets more of her, of the witch, well, accepting the proposition probably would get us more you know, view time with the witch, but I kind of want to see what happens with the— so either I'll reject or there's still more to be done. Let me see what this does. Something seemed off. Not only with the story she had just told, with her. And with you, yourself, assuming everything she had said was the truth. Which or not, my mind is made up. Which will strike you first, I wonder, regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It is not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch is me. That's right. It wasn't the white-haired girl who had claimed to be the witch. And that wasn't all. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. None of your questions had been answered. You still didn't know who the painting was, or what had taken place so long ago that caused the mansion to summon people to it. You didn't even know who you were for that matter. There was still more to be done. You had to find the truth. You needed to find someone, that much was certain. But was the story the maid had told correct about whom? And if it was, what about her? What about the woman whose name you couldn't say? The woman who had so cheerfully called you master? We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me too. This is just the beginning after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? I'm terribly confused. You must say her name. You must take her in hand. You must make her smile once again. You mustn't reclaim your old self. It's dark. Dark. It's dark. It's dark again. It's dark. 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 Constantly engulfed in darkness. You threw it away every single time. I must break out of this darkness. I'll give you a world that's not cruel to you. I must escape and take her hand, because that's the reason. Oh, I got a wonderful idea. I came here. You can curse them with me. I must return. I must reclaim. We can think of new ways to torture them. We'll all be happier if you stay here. Just think about it. Stay here in this world. You'll be right at home. No, I did the best I could for you. Nothing more. This is not where I belong. No matter how much of a world of darkness may suit me, you'll never be able to do it. I must reclaim my true self. I don't know. That was some fucked up text there. Okay, well, there's no choice here, but reclaim yourself. This is brilliant. Do you have any idea how terrible a decision that is? Do you have any idea why I fabricated that story? It was all for you. So stay here. Stay right where you are. The darkness suits you better. Remember what someone told you not long ago? That you could handle the stories because they weren't your own? That you were able to bear the tragedies because they happened to others? If that had been your suffering, if the secrets you had kept buried away for so long had come out, you couldn't possibly have endured it. But you're a sharp one. I'm sure you would tend to keep those secrets tucked away forever. Do you really think I'm going to let you do that, though? Whatever you try to hide, I'll make sure your beloved hears every last detail. This is weird. How foolish can you be? Despite all my encouragement, you still insist on getting your old self back. What do you have to gain from that? Nothing but filthy, ugly tragedy awaits you down this path. Don't get your hopes up, my dear. There's nothing for you there. You have nothing. I'm offering you a place by my side. You should just take it. There's no salvation for you anywhere. None. At all. Anywhere. From anyone. Ever. She's long since lost all grip on reality. And you think there's anything you can do for her now? Despite having repeatedly failed to even regain yourself? Well, I suppose if you're going to be stubborn, as much as I don't want to, I have to place a curse on your soul. That's right. The white-haired girl was never at the mansion. There's still a story left untold. What? The fourth door was all a lie. What do you mean? It was not some sweet little tragedy. The story you told was pure fantasy. No, that was the truth. That was where it all began. Because of what happened, you spent innumerable years lost, until you showed up here and... What? You reach out, grasping for it. You pull yourself in. Your silhouette, which has been hazy until now, begins to take form. Your mind, your consciousness, your heart, your soul, and your body. Who are you? The veil in your mind dissipates. A crack forms in the shell encasing you, then another. The invisible shackles chaining your spirit fall to the floor. Reality fades in atop the indistinct, foggy world around you. Bony fingers appear before your eyes. Long hair. Your voice. No. My voice. My body. My fingers. My arms are frail and my joints weak. But despite my resemblance to the white-haired girl, I am not her. This is who I am. I finally reclaimed myself. You weren't waiting for the white-haired girl. You were waiting for me. And that's exactly why I came here. What? I have no idea what you're talking about. I've always waited for the white-haired... There was never a white-haired girl. There was only... This time. This time I must say her name. She is... Giselle. There was only you. I am... Giselle? No, I am not Giselle. I am a servant of the house, and I am the witch that caused... You are not a witch. The witch is someone else. Why do you insist that you're the witch? What caused you so much, or changed you so much? Oops. Kingdom Hearts playthrough when? I would definitely be interested in playing through Kingdom Hearts for sure. I never played through the first Kingdom Hearts, so it would be cool to like go and play through like all of them in chronological order. Although I'm not sure what that would look like though, in terms of like what games I should be playing through if I wanted to sort of like keep it like chronological. Yes, please. I'd actually love to watch instead of this crap. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, I think was it you that asked before? I don't know. I'm pretty sure maybe someone else asked too, or maybe it was you. Maybe it was you that asked about Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, I would do a Kingdom Hearts playthrough. The shadowy figure in the master bedroom. That was her. A glimpse into her past. I'm sure this is Giselle, but why is she so different? Are you in the Discord? I can't remember. I can't recall if you're in the... I think you are in the Discord. If you want to like outline like which Kingdom Hearts I should play in order, then I might consider doing it. I own the original, I own Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the PS2, but, I think that's it. That's all I own in terms of, like, Kingdom Hearts games. So I'd have to decide if I want to, like, I guess I could play them originally on the PS2. Because then I can just, I can either emulate them or I can try and hook them up to my PS2. That might be a bit trickier to hook it up to a real PS2. There's a lot of games and the story is fucking so weird and hard to understand. Yeah, I get the sense that, like, Kingdom Hearts is kind of, like, all over the place, so it boggles me as to, like, how I should approach a playthrough of it. PS4 has, like, all the games, like 3 games in one. Oh, okay, so maybe I should consider getting the PS4 version? I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I'd definitely consider a Kingdom Hearts playthrough sometime this year. Where was I? I'm sure this is Giselle, but why is she so different? I am so confused about what's going on here, by the way, guys. What happened to the spark she used to have? Where did the light she once shone upon the world go? I have to remember. I must remember. This cannot end until I have. This is no longer a story. No, what I need to face is my past and her heart. She was not even present in the story she made up. Everything about it had been changed. The past I lived and the wounds she bore were more grounded in harsh reality, not wrapped in the film of fairy tale magic. That was the final tale, and it was all true. That's how it happened. It was a bittersweet story. No, how can you not see this? Yes, it was a beautiful tragedy, but was there even a scrap of humanity in it? Behind the 3 preceding doors, there had been a constant thread of ugliness and conflicting motivations, but there was hardly a trace of that behind the 4th door. The characters felt like nothing more than characters. Is that what you want to turn it into? Is that what you want our history to become? Our history? But I don't remember anything at all. You don't remember anything? No, I don't want to. I don't need a past or a future. All I have left inside me is uncertainty. Giselle. No, that is not my name. Please, stop trying to confuse me. I am fine with things the way they are. If it means I don't have to hurt, that's all I want. So please, just let me keep being the maid. Let me keep being a guide, not some foolish girl. Is that what she honestly desires? Does she want to cast aside her past for good? If so, then I won't force her. Not remembering isn't an option. This is another option. Oh boy. Okay, well, let's put this choice here. I'm gonna go with not remembering isn't an option. We're gonna force her. No matter what she says, I know I'm right. And if she doesn't reclaim her old self, I'll never get to hear her say my name again. I know I'm being selfish here, but I can't do that. If you're afraid of what you might find, we can remember together. I haven't gotten everything back yet myself. So let's open the real door together. There are no other doors to open, but there is one that can only open by our hands because it exists between the 2 of us. Not a door with physical form, but the door to your heart. Oh, that's so corny. The door to... I grasp her unnaturally cold hand, a hand that long ago once had warmth. If she can't lead the way, then I have to. I must pick up the pieces of our erased history so that we can both reclaim ourselves. Find the actual truth. No matter what we may uncover, I will not let go of this hand. No, I mustn't let go of it. Ooh, what's happening? I don't even know. I'm super confused, Radio. So, for a moment, the maid tried to convince us that we were the white-haired girl, Giselle, and then she asked us if we wanted to, like, just stay with her forever. And then, you get a choice there. So, You get 3 choices. You accept her proposition, reject her proposition, and the third one is there's still more to do. So I chose the third one. Enki! What's up, VP? I like Giselle. And how was your nap, by the way? You feeling better, Radio? And then after that, so I chose there's more to do, and then so our character is all like, no, we're not the white-haired girl. We are someone else, and we tell the maid that they're not who they think they are either, that they are in fact Giselle. So we are the main character here is claiming the maid is Giselle, and we are someone else, and that there's still one more story to tell or something like that, like the true story. I don't know. But I don't know what Veldugs is thanking me about. Thank you? Or thank you, Radio? I don't know. What? I mean, why can't he thank you for just anything? 1 hour by 44 degrees? 1 hour by 44 degrees. I don't understand what this means. What she said. Darkness falls over the world around us. The floor upon which we had been standing flickers out of existence, sending us dropping into an endless abyss. This dark pit. This is her door. Oh, your bath. Okay, 1 hour, 44 degrees. Like the temperature? That's pretty hot, isn't it? Then thank you for the thank you. This is a lot of reading. I know. That's the nature of visual novels. So, her history, her heart. Let's try this one more time. It's not a sweet story by any means. It's a story of betrayal, anger, hatred. We caused each other pain, but that's the road we traveled. And down that road lies all the answers. I like visual novels. Oh, okay. So you weren't complaining when you said that this is a lot of reading. So this is the true fourth door? The true fourth door. Ah, the fifth door. 1090. Okay, so the fourth story that she told us was a fabricated story, apparently, or something like that. So this is the true story, which is why it was like from 4 to 5, but it's the same time period, 1099. It had been several days since I left the capital, and I could still see it when I closed my eyes. The people lined up on the Grand Pont, awaiting entry, eager to start a new life there, brimming with hope. It was a city people were willing to pay high taxes to live in. If you were a performer, you could get some of those costs shaved down a bit by putting those skills to use. The capital was harsh on those who wanted in, and apathetic about all who left. It was composed of a powerful nobility and clergy, wealthy merchants and bankers, and a large population of poor. And it was the city I had called home for a long while. I didn't know much about where I was heading. Now I have to go, but I really hope the cutie patootie ends up being a good girl. Really like her. Okay, see you again, Radio. Wait, are you actually going or not? Thank you. I like you too. Goodbye. Oh, whoa. My muscles are better. Time to overdo it again. Oh, no. Oh, is that guy he's flirting with me? Now I remembered. Oh, okay. Don't you flirt with a lot of different guys here? I knew. Oh, this is Giselle. It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break. You want to keep going? Oh, alright then. The coachman was frustratingly taciturn. He acted as though he had gotten stuck transporting a prisoner. Though that was hardly a stretch. From his point of view, I was nothing more than a criminal. Even the times he would acknowledge I had said anything, he made no effort to hide the scorn in his eyes. To pretend he didn't regret ever taking this job, and I would just fall silent again. The road was gradually getting narrower. We had long since left the paved city roads behind, and we were now traveling along a couple worn-down grooves in the forest. How did I end up here? Why was I being subjected to this? I was done thinking about it. The more I thought on it, the less fair it seemed. The more I remembered, the worse it hurt. All I could do anymore was close my eyes and weather the storm. How could you forget about me? No homo. I swear I didn't. Radio was a boy. Okay, bye. Alright, see you at the radio. Have a great rest of your day. Whatever it is you're doing. Deep within the dense woods, a mansion appeared before us, like the world fading into view after a dream. It didn't seem to be an especially large house, but it had obviously been constructed with a great deal of care, and it was, thankfully, not standing in ruins. This deep in the forest? The carriage came to a stop, and the coachman climbed down, signaling with his chin for me to get out. Thank you, very much. You must be tired after such a long journey. This is the mansion I am looking for, yes? But the driver didn't even acknowledge me, getting back onto the carriage and setting off into the forest. Okay, so our perspective is from Giselle's point of view. He seemed to want to get as far away from here as quickly as possible. He could have said something. Oh well. That's about all I could say anyway. Oh well. I couldn't blame anyone for my being here, or for his wanting to get out. I should get going, I guess. Getting a better look at it, the house's windows were strangely enough all shuttered. It was probably dark as pitch inside. Does no one live here? But if that's the case, then why was I placed my hand on the front door. Such a big door. What if I couldn't get in? I had no idea what else there was in the area. If the door didn't open, then I would die out here in the forest. I've come to accept much, but I was not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please open. It's not locked, I guess. The door was heavy, and though it seemed to protest my attempts to enter, it still opened much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I got the strangest impression that light was being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it felt as though I was about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I closed the door, it was so dark that I couldn't even tell where I was walking. I wonder if the windows are open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it was tightly shuttered and the shutters caked with rust. I was probably not getting it to open without a fight. Damn. Or darn, not a hint of light. I couldn't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It felt as though the floor would fall out under me and I would sink into eternal darkness if I didn't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walked forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There was a door at the end of a long corridor. I pulled it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushed past me. It was too dark to see anything, but I could feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness gripped me. Hello? Is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. I suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. My voice simply disappeared into the void. No response. As I pushed forward through the freezing air, for a split second I spotted a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I was able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it wasn't shuttered. What do we have here? Drapes? I see a little light beyond. My chances were slim, I imagined, but if there was even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it was worth a shot. So I pulled open the drapes. The next moment, faint but colorful light shone down on me. It was a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I could hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. It had finally started, it seemed. The different light colors of light blended into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's so pretty. It looks like an angel? Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please, do not touch the drapes. Wait. This story is going like exactly the same way the fourth story did, so I'll be interested to see if there's any like distinguished differences. Or the windows. Suddenly, I heard a voice and I could sense someone else in the room. The man's voice was emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he came into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. It's Michelle again. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but, I did announce myself. The man stood there practically blending in with the darkness. Had he been there the whole time? He was staring straight at me. His gaze wavered slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. Then again, I could hardly make out any detail at all under the light of a single candle. Is this, your mansion? It is. Thank goodness, I was afraid it was deserted. I suspected you would have preferred it if the house were abandoned. Oh, not at all. I would be scared to death staying in this dark mansion all by myself. I'm sorry. No ill will intended, but I do think it could do with some light. That way you could see where you were walking, and I'm sure this room would look splendid illuminated. Not necessary. I make do perfectly well as things are. How can you see when it's so dark? I have an abundance of candles and oil for lamps. I am not in want of means of creating light. It is not your place to criticize my lifestyle. If you need light, you are free to leave. If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, and make your way to a larger town. I am no longer able to freely return to the city. I cannot go back there. Please, don't chase me out. I see. And do you ask of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? They say that a witch lives here. Not merely a witch. A cursed witch. If you reign here, you too shall likely suffer your own destruction. You're worried for my well-being? Witch or not, my mind is made up. I was sent to this cursed witch's mansion to atone for my transgression back in the city. It didn't matter what lived here. I had no choice. Which will strike you first? I wonder, regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It is not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch. The witch's name was Morgana. Is me. So wait, he's the witch? Yes. That was our first encounter. It was nothing flowery or dramatic. It was rather laced with suspicion and wariness. We knew nothing about one another, and I had no interest in changing that. But nonetheless, that was where it all began, where my history with her commenced. The woman had jade eyes. Opened wide, they glimmered like jewels in the light, shining through the stained glass window. She seemed to be at a loss for words. I wasn't lying per se. The rumors said a witch lived in this house, and I was the only one who filled that criteria. Thus, said rumors could be interpreted to be talking about me. Oh, so I guess this is Giselle, and she's not a white-haired girl. She's instead this, dark-haired Raven Beauty. And I guess we're reading this from Michelle's perspective, where he thinks he's the witch. After staring at me dumbfounded for a few moments, the woman suddenly burst into laughter. Oh, wow. Here I was thinking you were kind of scary, and it turns out you're actually quite funny. What? I never would have guessed you were someone to tell such a ridiculous joke with a straight face. I wasn't. You don't look at all like a witch. I mean, it's dark and I can't really see, but you seem to me like a rather handsome man. The word witch has a broader meaning than just a woman who practices magic. Any unholy person with cursed powers, man or woman, can be considered a witch. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, Fata. I think I get what you're trying to say, but my mental image of a witch is definitely more a woman. So you're not a witch. To tell you the truth, I didn't know who might be here, which had me rather scared, but I think I can make this work. It's a pleasure to meet you, Master. Master? I was sent here from your old home. I was an Abigail for your mother, but, well, I might have made a little goof. I froze the moment the word left her mouth. Home. It rattled around in my skull, shaking up terrible memories that almost brought me to my knees. Why, after all these years, were they reaching out to me now? And not even sending someone to bring me back, just sending someone. To what end? For what purpose had they shipped an Abigail out to this remote mansion? What was my mother thinking? Was this another one of her attempts to break my curse? What do you mean, you made a little goof? My voice came out weak. I did my best not to let it show in my face. It was a teeny tiny mistake. Nothing you need concern yourself with. What did Mother say about me? Well, it was actually your father who told me to come here. I never really spoke to your mother much. Father sent you? That made even less sense. Why would he have? Did Father even know I was here? No, if he had known, I would have been. Who was this woman? And what was her goal in asking to stay here? Well, there you have it. I'll be here for a while. If you need me for anything, do not hesitate to ask. I'm confident I can handle most everyday tasks. Now, where should I begin? Oh, I know. Are you hungry, Master? Food. I can't imagine you eat much being as skinny as you are. I turned my back on her without responding. No matter what her goal was, she had been sent from that house. There was no way anything good could come of that, and there was no way I could live with someone who had ties to them. I prayed she would take the hint, give up, and leave. Master? And so I kept ignoring her. Master! Master! I ignored. Master! I ignored her. Master, what would you like for supper? Nothing, but failed, spinning back and shouting. Her eyes went wide, and then she gave a sheepish giggle. I glared at her as she fidgeted uncomfortably. Eating is one of the most basic human needs, so if you're hungry, you should really eat. I said I didn't want. What was that sound? Must you ask? That's not a very polite thing to ask a lady, you know. Huh? You know, it was a long trip, and all I had to eat on the road was dried fruit. I felt like I was some kind of animal. So, what I'm trying to say is that, I'm hungry. That wasn't the sound of her stomach growling, was it? I thought lightning had struck in the distance. Wow. And would like some supper. The kitchen is at the far end of the hall on the first floor. There's food in the cellar. Help yourself to any of it. Thank you so much. I honestly feel like I haven't eaten in days and I'm about to die of starvation. Oh, and I shouldn't need any help finding it. I planned on exploring the house anyway. It's rather exciting being in a new place. Hehehe. Nerd. Damn it. That did not go as planned. Oh well. She can do as she pleases. I'll have nothing to do with it. Oh, Master, are you sure you don't... No. Master, Master. What is it now? My name is Giselle. It's a pleasure to meet you. And your name, Miss? Ow. Wait, did she say ow? Oh, Master Yu. Okay, there we go. I actually left the room that time, making my way back to my chambers. At some point, I would seriously have to chase her out, especially considering she had come from that house. But regardless, I was not terribly fond of her. I didn't really understand Michelle, but that was probably because we were still essentially strangers. Having been sent to the mansion as reparation for my mistakes, I wasn't sure who I might find there, but I was tentatively convinced he wasn't a terrible person. He didn't do anything to me except stay away. Michel spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had told me to never enter under any circumstances, so we rarely encountered one another in the halls. For that reason, I made an effort to be kind and cheerful on the sporadic occasions we did cross paths. I figured if I kept that long enough, he would eventually warm up to me, and as new housemates, being able to enjoy our time together was obviously preferable to the alternative. If I did manage to break the ice, I hoped we would be able to do some talking about the mansion, about him, about me. I just had to keep working at it. Michel didn't need me to take care of him. He handled his own day-to-day needs and activities by himself, and in fact, he didn't ask me for anything. An aristocrat who had no use for a servant. I hadn't met anyone like him before. Alright then. That meant about all I could do was clean. I wasn't sure how his room looked, but the rest of the house was, quite frankly, an absolute disaster. The dust was so heavy, it was obvious it hadn't been touched in years. Let's get started! It couldn't be healthy to live in these conditions, so I set out to clean each room in the house one by one. That said, it wasn't going to be an easy task. Not because I was bad at cleaning, in fact, I considered myself quite good at it, but because it was near impossible to find all the dust and grime that needed cleaning under the flickering light of a candle. I can't understand how anyone sane can live in this dark. What's wrong with them? Maybe he's actually... Wait, maybe he's actually a vampire? Oh god, wouldn't that be something? I can see it now, him sneaking out every night to suck the blood of pretty girls. Priceless. Ah, that means I'm in trouble. Look at me, Miss One Woman Comedy Show here. Yep. Why did I say worm? If I am able to get him to warm up to me though, maybe that'll give me a little more room to make some changes. Like opening some windows. No light and no fresh air? No thank you. Anyway, I set the candlestick down, pulled over a chair to stand on, and started wiping down the shelf. The chair's legs seemed to be uneven, as it wobbled slightly beneath me. So many books. I wonder, do they all belong to him? I knew parchment was expensive, so it was rather astonishing seeing this many stacks of it in one place. There were even some books with bulky, extravagantly decorated covers. He does come from an esteemed family. I'd spent enough time at his family's home. It was a constant bustle of servants and guests, the exact opposite of what this mansion was like. Why had he left his home? What had he done to be sent all the way here to this remote mansion with less than savory reputation? Need to be careful not to overstep my bounds. I am a servant now, a servant. But once the thought had crossed my mind, I couldn't get it out. I'd always had a bad tendency to chase my curiosities as soon as they struck, pushing to scratch the itch no matter how much my actions annoyed others. I couldn't do that here though. I was simply a servant, and if I got on Michelle's bad side, I risked getting thrown out. I wonder what kind of books he's got in here. So I attempted to distract myself. I grabbed one of the books and attempted to pull it out. What? But the strings binding the parchment must have gotten tangled at the back. Whoa! Because the books on either side tilted back with it. Ah! And then the entire row came crashing down on top of me. Ow! Oh, for cripe's sake. Or cripe's sakes. I had fallen off the chair, and a downpour of books was still coming down on me. A mountain of dust with it. Seriously? What were you doing? What? Suddenly, Michel was there, looking down on me from a little ways away. There was, as usual, not much I could read from his expression, but I could hear a vague trace of exasperation in his voice. I was doing some cleaning and impressive work. I'm usually better at this. It's just so dark, mistakes should be expected. I really think we should open some windows, Master. Get some light, some air flowing through here. I never asked you to clean anything. You did this entirely yourself. But there's so much dust. It can't be good for you. I am perfectly healthy. I don't see the problem. Had he even seen himself? No way someone that skinny was perfectly healthy. You look like you have something to say. You can make out my face in this darkness? Oh, you know. I wanted to be useful and cleaning is about all I can do here, so, you know. I was sensing something else, but alright. He let out a sigh, stepped over toward the pile of books, and then reached his hand down for me. Ah! I suddenly felt a pang of embarrassment about the fact that I was still splayed out on the floor, but I raised my hand up to take his, only for him to pick up a book instead. You could at least help me up. You have legs. Sex? No, I don't think so. At least not yet. He said, casually returning the book to the top shelf. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was a terrible person. Ugh, I think I'm getting kind of sleepy, so I think I might maybe stop here. Because it looks like there's still quite a bit of ways to go in this story. Since this is the 5th story. Oops, no. But yeah, instead of forcing myself to push through, I think I'm gonna... We'll call it here. And hopefully the next stream we'll be able to finish the story. Oh, good, Inky Pinky. Have a good night. Or good morning. Morning, night thing. But yeah, let me see if there's someone we can raid. Anybody? Ah, Vivi's streaming right now, so we can go say hi to Vivi. Looks like she's playing some Age of Empires 2. Maybe she knows I'm about to raid her. Oyasumi nasai. Hi, Oyasumi or Ohayo. It's actually 5 AM here, so I think it would probably constitute more a good morning. But thank you for hanging out, Minami. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys. So yeah, let's go say hi to Vivi. Cheer her on in her Age of Empires games. I'm not sure what she's doing in it, but I know she likes to compete or something in it. Maybe not. Just some RG. I don't know what RG stands for. Like, I can ask her. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out in today's stream. I don't know when I'll stream this next. Maybe later today? I don't know. I kind of want to finish the story since it like seems like we're really close to the end. So I'll see if I have some energy to stream again later today. But yeah. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, wherever you guys are in the world, and I will see you guys in the next stream.